Dad, I don't want him riding bulls. Please don't encourage him.
Let's go! I'm here with Billy Hamilton, champion of the PBR.
He's good.
Not as good as you.
Not as good as I was.
We are the dreams of our fathers.
You nearly killed yourself riding bulls, and you wonder why I don't want my son following in your footsteps. All right, Cody. All right, bud.
The souls of our sons.
It's just a concussion, right?
He has a brain tumor.
Your insurance will only cover roughly 40%. Are you going to be able to pay the difference? It could be $150,000.
I can't afford it. I have no money. There's no way.
The path to tomorrow. The change that has begun.
Oh, God.
That's not bad for an old fart. Why am I here?
PBR Legends Championship is this weekend. $1 million for first place.
Have you lost your mind? You will not get on that bull.
Well, that went well.
Yeah, very.
The legend shows up.
Can the legend, Joe Wainwright, keep up with our current champions?
He could die out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PBR Legends Championship.
Do you remember the last time you rode? I had to clean you, bathe you, walk you.
This could be Joe Wainwright's last ride.
Here we go!
Fearless.
Jon Avnet, thank you so much for joining us on A Screen Space, and congratulations on this beautiful film, The Last Rodeo.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's get pronunciation wise. Do you say Last Rodeo or Last Rodeo?
Last Rodeo.
Rodeo. That's good for me too. Let's jump straight to your leading man. You've worked with some of Hollywood's A-list leading men, the Costners, the Redfords, the Pacinos. What are the leading man qualities that make Neal McDonough so perfect for the part of Joe Wainwright?
Well, generally speaking, most leading men have the ability to very economically express an awful lot, often with or without dialogue. And Neal is quite good at that as well. Obviously, De Niro and Pacino and Redford, they're not slouches in that area. But Neal, and he has a tremendously authentic quality. It feels like he belongs in the West.
Yes.
And he's got more gravitas as he's gotten older. And I think that actually works well for this character.
He has a quality that has seen him cast in villainous roles so many times. The most memorably for me was Minority Report, if I recall. But he was, but him playing the hardened man in this one with a heart of gold to some respect. The flaws are all there to be seen, but it's a remarkable performance.
Thank you. I agree. I feel Neal did a great job with the role. I think he owned it from the beginning. You know, part of it is that he was involved with the script from the beginning, and he gave me a script that I thought had the potential to be something, and he basically said, make it your own. But make no mistake about it, his DNA is all over the script and the movie. And he was ready to shoot it 6 months before we started shooting. And
Wow.
I actually had to hold him back at times. And because we've worked together many times over the last almost 25 years now, we've got a very, very economical, if I may use the word again, a way of working. Well, I don't say much. I'll just say action or try this, and it's very few words, and then he comes in, he's just ready to go.
Well, that's a great segue to my next question, because I've got written here, actors return to work with you. You've previously worked with McKelty Williamson and Sarah Jones, who's just wonderful in this film, and you've done multiple projects with the likes of Gere and Goggins. And what is it about a Jon Avnet set that actors come back for? What is it that what did they gravitate towards?
I hope it's fun. The work is the work, and uh, if my mother had an expression, if it was meant to be fun, it'd be called play. Well, you know, making movies is not like working in the mines. And fun allows you to experiment and allows you to be bold. And by being bold, you can be bad or you can be good. But you can't be great unless you are willing to be fearless. And you mentioned some of the actors I've worked with, like Walton Goggins.
Mm.
He's just great. I mean, he's such a wonderful actor, such a great guy. And Richard Gere. I mean, all these people I've worked with so many times. And it's very similar with Michael T, Sarah Jones, and certainly with Neal, where we go out there and we do the work. We
Mm.
just get there to do the work. So I hope the set, is a very, very fertile environment to do great work, to dare to be great, if you will, and to, on projects that are worth doing. And in this case, Neal, who I've again known for so long, I felt like obviously he's done villains really well.
Mm.
And he's about as good as anybody doing it. But I felt he was really ready to step up to the plate to be the leading man. And I think he did.
The rodeo scenes are terrifying, as expected. The very first shot of Joe staring down that beast is awesome. I'm assuming you climbed on at some point to show them how it's done.
Absolutely not.
No, really? You're the director. What's the story?
Well, first of all, I'm a former jock. Part of why I like shooting in Australia is the stuntmen in Australia are about as crazy as they are
Oh, they're crazy, yes.
Yeah, and so I got to play with them quite a bit and go out jet skiing. And I kept wondering why, when I jump across the wake, I go up maybe 4 feet or 5 feet, and they're going 8 or 10 feet or 12 feet. I'm going, what's the deal here? Why are they so much better at this than me? Well, on bull riding, I think I'll take a pass on that.
Sure.
What I did do was study it, very carefully. And what I tried to do, and I think I was pretty successful, but the audience is the best judge for that, was to capture what it's like to be on a bull. And there are a couple of shots I did that took me a while to figure out how to do them that made the experience very visceral. I also had the benefit of having the PBR, the Professional Bull Riding Association, set everything up, get us the bulls, get us professional bull riders.
Wow.
And then I had legendary stuntman Buddy Joe Hooker as my ace in the hole, and a
Wow.
great wrangler as well, who was just fantastic.
Another relationship that goes back many, many years, doesn't it?
Well, Buddy Joe and I are like, he's so good. And he's like this annoying kid who just wants to play. He's very safety conscious, but boy, he knows how to throw people all over, whack you into. I mean, he's just great. I mean, he's a legend, so
Yeah.
it's really fun to be out there. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I start to understand why John Ford would go out to Monument Valley with Ward Bond and Wayne and, the same cinematographer, on and on and on,
Yeah.
because it's so much fun being with your team and playing with them, and like Sarah Jones, a lot of the character of Sally, I had written all the father-daughter stuff, and then she came in and she had ideas, and they were really good, as they usually are from Sarah.
Mm.
And then I put them to paper and we worked on them a little bit, and she was just raring to go. I mean, just so ready. And that scene in the hospital, boy, can you do better than that?
Oh, the scene in the hospital, the get on with it scene was when I really welled up. That's a great piece of dialogue, and her reaction to that and the familiarity she shows with between the characters was that was a really beautiful scene.
Thank you.
For a kid from Brooklyn, you've done some of your best work dealing with the personalities and people of Middle America, whether that's Fried Green Tomatoes or a film of yours which I adore called The War. Even your episodes of Justified. What aspects of that type of Americana draws the best out of you as a storyteller?
Well, I think, first of all, it's foreign to me in a certain way. I mean, playing stickball in Brooklyn, getting in fights on the street, running away from cars. Yeah, that I can do. Even jumping off buildings. But because it's not me, my experience firsthand, I go there as sort of like a blank canvas, and it imprints on me. And the images, I think, are very, very strong. And I've enjoyed trying to bring them to life. And I enjoy language and I enjoy the accents. And they're very specific, like in the South or in the war, those kids, those voices. I mean, we had one of the best casting directors in the world, David Rubin.
Mm.
I mean, he did open auditions throughout the South. I think there may have been 25,000 submissions. I could be
Good
off by
Lord.
5 or 10,000. Uh, but he's indefatigable, and he brought in some just great kids, great voices, and it adds, that authenticity that if you don't have it, it feels generic. If you do have it, then at least the story hasn't failed on that.
Mm.
You have to fail on something else, if you will.
You mentioned the word authenticity or authenticity, and this film brings that authenticity to a big screen format. This is a very cinematic feel about it, the likes of which you don't see that much. It's sort of become the small screen realm, the Yellowstones and this sort of work that gets seen nowadays at this part of America. So it is great to see it on the big screen. Was that key to how the film looked for you?
Yeah, it was a very, very big deal to me. First of all, some of what inspired me was Yellowstone, some of the
Sure.
work on Yellowstone. I thought Taylor Sheridan, I think he's a really gifted guy. Costner, obviously, I've worked with, I know, but all those characters, and I love the stuff in the bunk and the horse stuff. I really enjoyed it. So for me, I come from film. And so even though I've done Justified or Sneaky Pete or Boomtown, I've done a number of shows, even, the Starter Wife one that I shot down in Australia. It's easier for me to look at the big screen and I like to see the audience. I like to see their reaction. I like to play to their reaction. And I felt that the bull riding was an opportunity to create a very visceral cinematic experience. And I've been very gratified to watch the audiences because when they're watching the bull riding scenes, they're like this. I was like, they don't look like they're breathing. And it's quote 8 seconds, it's a little longer depending on which one. But the point is, it's really like, whoa. And so between how to shoot it and then the sound work. And again, this is something that's, very important to me. It's part of film that perhaps is overlooked a little bit in terms of talking about it and honoring and recognizing it is, just the sound of the hoofs hitting the ground. I mean, a 1,500 or 1,600 pound animal hitting the ground, there's a lot to that. There's a lot of muscle in that. And so, that design was something that I worked on very well. And the editor, Tom Costantino, it's just a stunning job of cutting the bull riding sequences. And then building the beginnings of the sound work. So all that makes the experience in the theater just that much more intense, where you basically suspend disbelief. You're
Sure.
like there in the middle of this ride. So that was important, as well as the vistas. Getting that sense of Texas, of Oklahoma, of seeing a world where it just goes on and on and on. And you leave a small town, like Edna, Texas, where it's got like many small towns, one theater that's not open, surrounded by
So sad, yeah.
miles and miles of farms and, open area. And then you go to Tulsa, which is a, bigger city, or Dallas when you go to the hospital. They're just very different worlds. And, part of it is understanding the difference between rural America and more urban America without talking about it, showing it rather than saying it. So all those things, were really important to me, and I wanted to get a big release. And the film in America was released in 2,300 screens.
Yeah.
So that was very good, and it did quite well theatrically, which I was really happy about.
Yes. There was the backing of Angel Studios, and I want to ask about the role of faith in the film. Without giving too much away, there's a bit of a pivot at one point, the Bible verse scene and the kissing the cross scene. And I'm keen to get your views on how the film treats religious belief, because you've made projects about some of humanity's worst films, like series like Uprising and Red Corner and the film Red Corner. What are your views on the role that faith and religious belief plays in your film?
Well, it's something obviously I'm very interested in. It's something I struggle with on a personal level. And I think it's very, very important and big part of life. And it sort of troubles me a little bit that, at least in America, I don't know, when you say it's a film that has faith in it, it's like faith is a four-letter word. Excuse me, why is that case? These are very deeply held personal views. And, why can't you explore that? Why does it seem like there's sort of a negative stigma to it? And in this case, Neal, who is a very, very religious person personally, had written a character who had lost his faith.
Right.
And who had become, because of personal tragedy, very, very selfish. And he wallowed in his loss. And that's a very understandable thing to do, because no one teaches you how to mourn. And mourning itself is a very uneven process in my experience. And but at the same time, if it's only about you, then what's it about? If life is just about yourself, what's it about? So I felt that the journey that he had written, that I could then rewrite and add stuff to, was a very smart choice that he had made. And then hopefully, because of the people in his life, you can understand and believe that he finds some relationship back to his own faith. And who is faithful hasn't had doubt, and if you haven't had doubt, maybe you're a remarkable person or fortunate, whatever. But if you have, the struggle to find faith is very, very, very human, and I think more typical than atypical. So yes, it's something that I've wanted to explore. It's something that I've explored, and something that I'm going to explore again, unless I get kicked out of this business at some point.
I hope that's not the case. It's probably not going to be the case, and I do just want, in the short time we have left, I want to ask you about your role on the DGA AI committee. In the time we have left, can you address how Hollywood is dealing with AI as a creative tool and its impact on the film community? Sorry for this sort of last minute pivot, and I understand if you don't want to talk about it, but I'd appreciate just a view from the top.
Well, I am co-chair of the DGA AI committee with Christopher Nolan, a filmmaker of a certain esteem, in my opinion.
Yes.
And, there are two areas. There's the legal area and there's the creative area. Creatively, this is not something that's going to get put back in Pandora's box.
No.
It's going to go. And, the directors, generally speaking, have been the ones who embrace technology first and often with the most amount of imagination. This is not that different initially. However, it's going to have, a very, very wide impact across the industry, as it will in the world. So we're not immune from that. The key thing is storytelling a human art? And if it is, how do you maintain the human in the art? And I think that's the challenge.
Wonderful. Jon Avnet, congratulations on the last rodeo. I'm so excited for my viewers and my followers to see the film. I'll put all the details of its release in the notes below. Thank you for your time on Screen Space, and all the very best, mate.
Thank you. Very nice getting to chat with you and getting to know you a little. Thank you.
Thanks, Jon. Bye-bye.